play here. So just pressure out the enemy jungle, allow your team to farm in safer places.
What do you think about the Mask of Madness on Luna?
It's really cool. You can farm the Ancients really quickly. It allows you to just propel your farming really fast, but
much more likely a Helmet Dominator for this game.
yeah, because you need a Satanic against EG's lineup.
Yeah.
The EG have a ton of burst, and the only way to survive burst as the late game carry is to have a Satanic to be able to turn it around. I know there are some players that like to go for the Mask of Madness, but I think in this game especially, just the HP that you can get out of the Satanic without having to build any stat items is pretty important.
Yeah, and I would also say for like the early to mid game, like Evil Geniuses are very clearly going to put a lot of pressure on eHome, and Mask of Madness is more of a farming item than anything else.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think eHome do want to get in fights. Like they have the type of lineup for it.
Yeah.
When you've got supports like Rubik and Winter Wyvern, they're not the most self-sufficient, and they're definitely not that useful outside of fighting. You're not going to farm with those heroes and change the game. You're going to get into fights, get good Winter's Curses off, do things of that nature to try to get ahead. It's not even like their ganking is very efficient, right? Mm-hmm. Winter's Curse is okay, but the cooldown on it is so long that you can't really afford to miss it very often.
Mech is about to be finished up by ROTK. He's trying to deal with this push at the bottom lane. How's Universe doing in levels? He's got his level 6 plus Arcane Boots, but he's pretty far behind in farm, especially when you compare it to ROTK. It's obviously unfair to compare these two offlaners. One very clearly has an advantage farm-wise, but...
Oh, and they actually de-ward that, so I think EG will also know that they have a ward up there, because how else would they have known that they placed it up there, right? But eHome's in a really good position once again. Once they get the mechanism up on ROTK, they'll feel pretty comfortable because Universe is pretty underleveled, and he can't afford to miss very many ganks at this point. And CTY is getting really close to his Bloodstone. At the same time, Sumail is a little bit further away from his Orchid, so the farm advantage, eHome can definitely take control of it.
Yeah. So, and especially with the Orchid timing on Storm Spirit, like he's naturally a hero that you want to group up against, right? Because Storm Spirit isn't particularly strong in 5 versus 5 team fights early on. He just like naturally just doesn't have enough mana. Plus, Orchid is more of a pick-off item than anything else. So you're naturally going to want to group up anyway. And it seems like eHome's plan is just going to come together at the right time. The mech, you have the decent amount of stats on your Luna, level 6, and some stats on the Leshrac. Even Winter Wyvern's ready to go.
And they are actually smoked up. They want to take this top tower after this gank. AUI is not even the main target here. It's just that the lane is pushing in, and this is an easy push right after.
Good time for it. Quickly being able to burst down both the Skyreth Mage as well as the wave of creeps. And Evil Geniuses are kind of unlikely to make the rotation. In fact, you could already see Universe starts backing himself away. But eHome aren't going for the tower. I thought you were spot on the money there.
Yeah, it's really common. Because you're seeing PPD at bottom. He doesn't have enough mana. Even if he TPs, he only has a snowball. The Gyrocopter isn't interested in fighting here at this point. Same with the Storm Spirit, especially when the Winter Wyvern is level 6. Mm-hmm. So the top tower was pretty easily takeable. Like they had a catapult and everything, and they had the momentum. Like there's no way they anticipated that smoke from eHome.
I think maybe eHome are just maybe a bit too tepid after the game 1.
Yeah, but in some ways, I like that they still go for the win like that, and I feel like this would have been a similar situation. I think if they were playing any other team but EG, they would have continued to go for that tower. But I think that was just a case of a little bit too much respect, but I don't want to harp on it too much, but I did think that was the correct play. Bloodstone is going to be completed on CTY. A mech is completed on ROTK. The Luna almost has an Ogre Club. You don't want to wait for the full BKB. It would open up a little bit too much space for EG.
Yeah.
So maybe you go for the fight here.
Because that would mean BKB would be finished on the Gyrocopter at the same time.
Yes, exactly. It's probably more important that the Gyro gets a BKB this game too, especially since you have a Lush on your team. Mm-hmm. He can deal with the Gyrocopter at this phase of the game. And EG, they're going for the smoke right now, but eHome is just playing incredibly defensively. Now they're starting to group up, doing the smart thing here, and there's a pretty significant stack for YJ to clean up, and maybe they'll go for the push after he gets this in his Ogre Club.
You could see how scared Evil Geniuses are playing right now. Like all the calls that you're making about eHome, about to hit their timing, about to be the aggressors. It seems like Evil Geniuses have read that too. Like just the example of cooldown being used in that middle lane, right? That's them wanting to be able to push out the wave, but not even get close to committing to actually being that kind of area. So they're playing pretty defensively as well, waiting for that jump from eHome. The stack is going to be cleared through. YJ will get his Ogre Club. But again, still not close enough. DDC going to be picked off there by the Orchid. Sumail immediately TPing out for fear of recourse from eHome.
Yeah, and I like that this game he decided to go for the straight Orchid instead of going the Soul Ring like he normally does. I think the getting it even a minute or two earlier allows you to get a free kill without eHome being able to respond. Because once eHome hits all their timings, then I feel like they just group up, and it's too hard for that Orchid to really pay for itself. And I like that he went for it overall, because against Winter Wyvern, you're going to have so many issues once he gets a Glimmer Cape.
Yeah.
So by the time you get your Orchid, the effectiveness of it dies out.
And I think that early pickoff, just to build on that early pickoff is kind of stalling up eHome's timing. And we're getting to a point, especially like EG tried to go for a smoke gank earlier with the Nyx Assassin. We didn't really talk about it. But it feels like that's one of those timings where if you do get a pickoff there, you may just manage to stall up eHome long enough for you to get your BKB before their first like real aggressive offensive action. And even if it's not the first time, maybe the second time, right? Like, for example, here, eHome, if they want to go for this top tower, Evil Geniuses could just say, okay, we're going to give this tower up, but the next tower you push in, we will have that BKB for Gyro.
Yeah, CCY is being slowed up, but he himself should be able to tank enough, and eHome is actually wrapping around, trying to see if they can find anybody, but Sumail's actually doing such a good job of keeping up in farm relative to eHome. He's got 150 CS, 2 kills as a Storm Spirit. He's going to be incredibly satisfied with that, so... EG, it's not even like they're behind or anything like that. It makes it sound like they are, but...
Well, on him, he's going to be able to catch AUI, and he actually grabbed the Illusions, which was going to be a bit of downside. That just means that extra Splinter Blast nuke will kill him all the faster. Lanham will get the heal, and with the 5-man already here from eHome, they will try and push down this Tier 1 tower. Top tower does get denied by PBD at the same time, though.
Yeah, they're going to glyph this, but it should go down. Really what it comes down to when it comes to tower defenses is it's not even really a numbers game. It's that you have people set up there so that only 1 or 2 people max have to TP in, meaning that you don't have to undercommit for it. And,
right.
Good move by EG to give it up. Even better move by eHome to take down that tower. And YJ's going to finish this stack now, I think. His creep dies, unfortunately, before he can do it one more time. But the BKB is coming up on him, and they timed their pushes out really well so that EG couldn't respond. And this BKB will come out at a decent time.
Speaking of BKBs, though, we've mentioned it a few times. Fear finally has his, and he's got a big old Ancient stack that he will be able to farm up on top of that. So he can quite quickly start moving towards his next item. Is it just, like, especially since you've invested so heavily into early game stat items, you just go for the late game item now, like a straight Butterfly or MKB?
I think MKB is a really good choice if you think that the Luna is going to eventually get a butter. You don't want to just immediately get the butter and hope, because most of the damage is nukes. And Sumail at top, I mean, he's looking for it right now, and DDC's running away. He does have the mana pool to do this, and this might just mean another pickoff for Sumail. Nobody's even close to DDC, and Sumail's just ruining DDC's life.
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't go for the TP out there, but I guess he assumed that Sumail's going to be able to jump him and vortex at some point. Yeah. Storm Spirit is BKB, his next item, right? Just because he's dealing with Leshrac, too much magic damage. Luna as well, with some of that AoE from Eclipse.
Bloodstone first, and then...
Okay. I thought maybe he would go for the early BKB, simply because there's a chance that eHome go for, a lot of 5-manning.
I think BKB might be okay, but I think getting the Bloodstone... And if eHome decides to overcommit for the 5-man, allows you to just win the game from having that item. I think that it just does too much for Storm. Like, it allows you to revive faster, it allows you to snowball sooner, it allows you to stay on the map and farm more. Because the HP aspect of it, too, is underrated. Like, if you want tank, you get a Bloodstone on Storm. It just solves so many of your issues. And it's too good not to get as a second item. It's like one of those weird cores that you don't want to get a BKB on second.
So eHome very shyly went for their timing early on with taking some of those towers, but didn't really commit too much. They've taken just the tier 1s. Now they have the BKB for Luna. Is this another timing for them, or should they sit back and continue to farm up?
No, the thing is, EG is doing the same exact thing. They got a Blink Dagger. They've got Fear, who actually pops his, and I think Universe even Envision, but... When you hit these type of timings and you're wondering why do teams do this, like why don't they just continue to farm or anything like that, it's that what are you really waiting for? By just splitting up and farm, you're leaving yourself open to opportunities to get picked off. So when eHome hits a timing where they get a BKB on their Luna and he's got 77 gold, what is it that you're waiting for anymore,
Yeah.
right? Like nothing. You can't just keep delaying these pushes and saying, "We'll wait, we'll wait, we'll wait." You're comfortable with this type of timing that you're going to hit, and this might actually work out perfectly as they're going to get the wraparound smoke.
PPD, the first telekinesis into the split Earth, trying to burst him down. He does manage to get out the snowball. Luna takes some damage from Universe. It looks like Artus should still be falling. He gets out some damage with the Walrus Punch and the Ice Shards, but in the end, that 5-man smoke does manage to find a pickoff on just a support E-Home. I was
Go
about
for
to
the
say,
Roche.
tier 2 a Roshan. They only get a support, so it seems like Roshan is the much better option.
Going for a tier 2 against a lineup like EG's when you have to base push against a Storm Spirit with full mana is just so dangerous.
Yeah.
Like, you don't know what's going to come. If DDC gets popped in the middle of the fight, or even Lanem, and all of a sudden you've got a 4v4, and then the Gyrocopter lays into your team, it's a little bit too dangerous. Plus, YJ is playing Luna, one of the weaker carries at just surviving. So going for the Roshan every single time when you're dire side especially is just a safe play.
Yeah, this raises it completely erases the chance that E-Home go into a commitment and they're the ones initiated on and the Luna dies immediately, right, before she can get out the BKB. Because then if that happens, she'll come back a second time, has the BKB ready to go.
Yeah. You know what's interesting about this game from the previous one? EG actually had Storm pretty much free farm. And I was really worried that would happen to E-Home, but it seems like E-Home's strategy was more to shut out Universe as much as possible, and then just play defensively, and force Sumail to come to them. And they've done a really good job of that. Like, excluding Sumail's 2 solo kills onto DDC,
Yeah.
they've actually only had 2 kills independent of that.
Those are very minor pickoffs, especially since he went for the Orchid first rather than the Bloodstone.
Yeah.
You don't actually have much of a snowballing factor there.
Oh, and mid too.
Yeah, Fear. He doesn't actually get off the BKB in time and almost gets chain stunned down to death. Now he's actually being run down by the Dog Bog Edict. Just need one more right click. No, it's still not enough. Another one was required. Fear barely gets away. And he was committing for the MKB too, so that would have been a prime opportunity for E-Home to get a pick off there. But while he is dead, they're going to go ahead and try and take this tier 2 tower.
Yeah, it was really well played by E-Home for that attempt, but Fear... Sumail did the right thing there. He just kind of took the heat off of Fear's back and slowed them down just enough so that they couldn't catch up. But that's still a 10-second BKB that you've committed. And E-Home doing a good job right now of taking control of the map. PPD doing his best to just force the Luna around the map so that they can't go for the Deathfall.
So, Fear forced back to the fountain, but E-Home unable to get more than a couple right clicks on that tier 2. Now forced to defend their bottom lane. YJ's got another 1,700 gold. Butterfly can't really be his option because we do see an early MKB being built by Fear, so at which point, what's your item? Do you go for like a stat-based build on Scotty, or...
Manta's not bad. Maybe you even still get the butter, but Manta's a really good option. And
As I said that,
he's got Yasha now.
he's about to get the Yasha. I think it just increases the farm potential of Luna just a little bit too much, but
Yeah.
E-Home...
And there's an Orchid on the Storm Spirit. I mean,
Yeah.
Even if he does have BKB, he doesn't want to have to commit a BKB every single time Storm jumps him.
What's neat, though, is that when this game kind of passived out after they took Roshan, E-Home just continued to stack their Ancients. So they just continue to get further ahead on the Luna, but Gyrocopter's still second in net worth, but when it comes to actual net worth, it's incredibly close. If it hadn't been for that Roshan, E-Home would actually be behind, which is a little bit surprising, but that's just on the heels of Sumail doing such a good job of keeping up in farm and not dying whatsoever.
PPD, EG have kind of read this. I mean, top lane's empty, bottom and middle are both pushing out. E-Home are nowhere to be seen on the map, so it's got to be a 5-man smoke somewhere. Universe may still be caught? No. He pops the Vendetta in time before CTY could go for a Eul Scepter play. What do you think about Eul Scepter here?